I'm Dr. Lekha from Bharatiya Janata Party. I have many questions for you, but I'm not going to ask you what you were thinking when you made that statement in Pakistan. I'm not going to ask you why the Congress insists on choosing Rahul Gandhi as their leader despite his proven record of failure. What I'm going to ask you today is something in a much lighter vein. Your speech was more about when power is gone. I expected you would rather talk about how to go about being in power and how to stay in power. Is it because you are not a minister in the center right now, or is it because Congress is not in power?
No, having myself been in power and then having ceased to be in power, I thought I would share my reflections with you. And I have not been defeated by the BJP. I was not removed from power by the BJP. I was defeated in an election by the ADMK. It had nothing to do with you. You're a non-entity in my state. You don't exist. And therefore, I lost power. It's because the Congress party didn't find me an accommodation. So the idea that somehow, if you are involved in politics, you have nothing in you except the lust to come into power, and then the dreadful disappointment of not being in power, is a parody that I was attempting to correct. I was attempting to say to you that if you enter this game, you have to much more know how to take reverses than how to take success. And I gave you my very personal example of my wife telling me that I was not the same person, and that therefore I needed to have virtue to be out of power, because being in power is in itself a poison. And that's why I began by saying that it's a very poisonous brew. So therefore, my statement, I hope, was not an autobiographical statement. If you'll make me a minister, I won't accept it. But if my party made me a minister, I would accept it.
Thank you.
Whether my party will come back to power or not, we'll see. In the meanwhile, leave it to us to choose whom we want to have lead us. I mean, if I were in the BJP, I'd have never chosen this man as my leader. But that's a different matter. You have your people, I'll have mine. And the generality of our population, the voters, will decide whether to have your guy
Thank you very much.
and the puppies that come under his motor car. Don't forget that. Don't forget the bloodbath that took place, for which there has been absolutely no remorse. And that, I think, is a very, very, not black, but a red stain on his reputation. And as regards my remark in Pakistan, I have visited Pakistan 30 times in the last 30 years. And I made many remarks there. But people like you are not interested in those remarks. The only remark that you have seen is my saying, get rid of Modi for better India-Pakistan relations. Well, let me tell you what exactly happened. I was asked in that program, which took place in Hindustani, he says, सबसे बड़ा अड़चन क्या है भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोस्ती कायम करने का? And this was in November. मैंने कहा मोदी. फिर मैंने कहा, उसके साथ जोड़ा कि मोदी को हटाइए और फिर आगे जा सकते हैं. तो he said to me कि हम कैसे हटा सकते हैं? तो मैंने कहा कि आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो सिवाय इंतज़ार करने का, उनको हटाने का काम हमारा है. Now, what Shambhit Patra of Odisha has done is to leave everything else out, pick up one line, and like a metronome, go on repeating it every time he sees me on television. And it results in people like you thinking that that's the only remark I've ever made. I believe that there is a potential for friendship between India and Pakistan, which has to be pursued through the route of uninterrupted and uninterruptible dialogue, not chumban ek din aur thappad dusre din. You can't call the Prime Minister of Pakistan on the 26th of May 2014 and say jhappi lagao, and 2 months later say main baat nahi karunga because you've spoken to the Hurriyat. Then a year later say we'll talk about terrorism, we won't talk about Kashmir, and break it off. And then suddenly turn up and say happy birthday to you. Is this policy? Is this the way in which you handle the most important political problem you have in the foreign sphere? And these are the issues that are real, but unfortunately, you're in the audience, I'm on the stage, so you can't ask more than one question.